Hey guys! Growing up, I was a straight A student, your typical Asian student. I won awards for Spanish, physics, lab. I had a number of awards to make me feel like I was pretty smart. Yeah. So then I get to music school, the University of British Columbia. I thought it was a magical time. I felt like I was in Hogwarts. Instead of everything being magic, everything was music. I think I was emailing my music history professor. In the subject line, I put history of magic, and I almost sent it to him like that. Ear training used to be part of the music theory course, and if you failed ear training, you didn't actually fail the course, so it didn't actually matter. But starting my year, they had separated it. It was a bit of a mess. It was divided up into labs. The reason being is that ear training takes a lot of practice. They wanted the class sizes to be smaller so that the professor can really concentrate on each of us more individually. But of course, the problem that came up there was that because this course was so new, each professor had different expectations. You can see where this is going, right? The requirements for the exams also kept changing, so even if you prepared one thing, you would find out the next time you went to class that you actually needed to prepare something else for the very imminent exam. To perfect pitch people, they can pick out different pitches as if they're different colors. So all the perfect pitch people were not affected by this. But for the rest of us who only have relative pitch, it was a disaster. Ear training is best learned by drilling and practicing for a little bit every single day. 5 to 15 minutes a day will make a huge difference in the long run. When it came time for the actual exam, even if you did practice a little bit every day, you ended up being forced to cram anyway because they would assign something else. There is a sight singing portion. So they give you a piece of music and you have to sight sing it in solfege. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Out of all the musical things out there, I am the most uncomfortable singing, especially in front of other people. This was the first time I was being tested with sight singing, and I froze. My brain froze, my tongue froze, my throat froze, everything froze, and the pitch that I was hearing in my head, one, was wrong, and two, I couldn't even match my singing to the wrong pitch that was in my head. I couldn't even do it the wrong way, so I did it like the wrong way. I was kind of doing something more along like do, mi, so. That is not actually a huge exaggeration. I just remember seeing my professors looking like, when you see that look in your professor's eyes, you know you failed. The interesting thing with this course was that it was a pass or fail course. And they had warned us ahead of time as well. They were like, if you fail this course, we are going to put a permanent W on your transcript. So it says withdrawn. Usually it's understood to mean that you were taking the course for a while, but you passed the date that you could pull out without a W, which means that you probably fell behind in the class and you had to drop out. This reflects very badly on you. Throughout the course, I just remember this being hammered into our heads that if you don't pass, there will be a permanent W on your transcript, and that's not going to be good in the future if you apply for grad school. You have to keep in mind that we're only in first year here. We take everything literally and very seriously. So when I saw the look in my professor's eyes, my heart just went kaplunk. I had never failed an academic course, ever. It was snowing, and I made this dramatic 20-minute long drudging walk down to the bus loop. I called my mom on the way, and I was like, Mom, I think I failed. And my mom's like, no, like, how do you know for sure? Maybe you did a lot better than you thought. And I'm like, no. I just remember sitting in the bus and like looking outside, just being like, I failed. My future depends on not having a W on my transcript, and I have a W on my transcript now. Do I even belong in music school anymore? Am I actually a musician? Is this a sign that I should drop out of music music. I felt so down that I don't even remember if I cried. So I gave myself a couple of days to mourn. I know that a lot of people will say like, oh, chin up, don't feel bad. You can just get back on your feet and start over. I don't think it's emotionally healthy for you to deny that you feel really bad about failing something. I gave myself a deadline of like a week, I think, to feel really terrible about myself. We had just gotten off for the Christmas holidays. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna let myself not touch ear training for 2 to 3 weeks. Instead of running away from it, you should put that failure in a cage for a while. That was my way of taking control of the situation. So while I felt that I shouldn't deny that this was happening, I also knew that I should not dwell on it forever. And during those 2 to 3 weeks, I realized a couple of things. One was that I was not dead. I failed an academic course and I did not die. Number 2, I realized that I had hit rock bottom in ear training. Things really couldn't get any worse. I was like, oh, well, I guess it's uphill from here. I now have done a sight singing exam. I failed it, but I did it. At least that was in my experience belt. And number 3, I realized that I didn't care so much about failing because I just failed. And because I didn't care as much, I ended up loosening up, which ironically is better for ear training. The tenser you get in ear training, the more everything is going to sound the same. But the looser you are and the more you just let the pitches come to you, it's actually more clear. At least this is something that I found. And the result, I actually just went online prior to filming this video to see if I can get my grades summary. And yeah, sure enough, it's there. That W is still on that transcript, but it is also in the transcripts of 75% of my fellow classmates. And you know what? For those of us who applied to go to grad school, I have never heard of that W being an issue for anyone. So for those of you who think I'm an amazing musician and stuff like that, well, now you know. I'm just like you. I'm not saying that you failed an ear training course, but like, you know. If you like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and hit subscribe to catch new videos every Saturday. If you missed my last video, it is over here. And if you want to catch me during the week, my social media are down there. But otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Bye. My boob is itchy.